In this week's Fix the Photo, we're going to look at adjusting 2 images from our members' weekly challenges. This particular challenge was on bottles. There's the entries that came in. Let's take a look at the photos I'm going to fix. So the first one is by Alejandro Camacho. And if we take a look at this image, first thing I noticed was this looked like it could be a great shot, but unfortunately it looked very flat and lacking in contrast. So I've adjusted the image to take it to that, to punch it out, really bring it to life a little bit. Unfortunately, there's quite a bit of banding and bits going on there because I've only got a low-res JPEG to work on. I haven't got the original file, but I think we'll get the idea of what's needed to be done on the shot. Let me walk you through each stage as it was done. So first adjustment, a base level amount of contrast, as you can see here. Second one, a little further additional contrast. Then some additional contrast just to the edges of the bottle. And you can see my layer mask there. And if we look at that layer mask, you can see where I've applied that contrast to the water and to the bottle, but not to the background. Then there was a slight hue saturation adjustment on the letters and to lift them up a little bit brighter on that side. Then a tiny amount of color added to the bottle to bring it a little bit bluer. And you can see the areas, I'm not sure if you can see that on the layer, you can see the area where I've painted blue paint around the edge of the bottle, use the blend mode in color, but then masked out areas that would be a problem over the label, etc. very quickly. Drop that right down to just 7%. So if I put that right up, you'll see where it was there. You can clearly see. So I've just used the opacity reduction there to drop that down. Then we have a further enhanced boosted layer of contrast, and then finally another additional layer to make it pop. And on that layer there's a layer mask which was just to paint back in that area that had blown out on that highlight. So collectively that was the original image, and then it was taken to that. Okay, let's move on to our second image from our members. This one by Helena Deng. And I thought this was a really nice image as it was, but there were a couple of small things that I thought we could do to improve it. I haven't actually done them yet, so I'm going to work through those live with you now. So first thing when I looked at the shot was I thought the bottle didn't look completely straight. And as you can see, when I bring those guides in, you can see it isn't sitting completely straight. So I'm just going to duplicate the layer. I'm going to go Edit, Transform, Distort, and I'm going to pull the bottle over ever so slightly just to level it up a little bit. Needs a little bit more pull on one side by the looks of it. Maybe pull that one to there and that one back over to there. And bending it down slightly on that side because the label looked a little bit off as well. Just making sure the top of the bottle all looks okay. That looks pretty good to me. So it's just slightly off center now, but that's not a problem. We can recrop the shot afterwards. So let's just look at the difference there. So it was from that to that. Now, saturation on the color of the bottle, very easy to fix. Let's just get a hue saturation adjustment layer, and I'm just going to ramp the saturation up in general across the board there, and then I'm going to invert that mask to hide that. Then I'm going to use a white paintbrush at 100% just to run it over the inverted layer mask. That will bring that additional saturation back into the bottle and into the reflection, but I'm just, as you see, just limiting it to that area. It's not affecting out there because it's white, so that's not so much of a problem. From that, I'm going to make a new layer, a duplicate stamp layer of the whole thing. I'm now just very roughly going to grab a highlight dodge tool, run it over the center of the bottle just to add a little bit more glow and a little bit more sort of sheen in the middle of the bottle. Then I'm going to take that dodge layer back to mid-tones. Going to run it a little bit more over the label on the center because the label looked a little bit dark on the middle. And let's get rid of those layers a moment just so we can see a comparison. Before we look at a comparison, my next issue was with the background of the shot. So very, very quickly, I'm going to make a cutout shape roughly around the bottle. Then I'm going to invert that selection. So it's now the background selected. I'm going to make a new layer from that background, which you can see has appeared here. And then I'm going to Gaussian blur that background layer to create this lovely glow that almost wraps over the bottle and disguises the horizon line a little bit more. And it gives it this sort of angelic, sort of flary look, which I think suits this product. I'm going to say okay to that. Now, it would be wise to add a little bit of noise into that to avoid any banding. I'm going to just put 1% noise in there. If we flick that on and off, you see the effect. Now you can see that glow wraps over the bottle. If you don't want it to wrap over the bottle, in this case, I do want it to wrap over the bottle. But if you don't want to wrap over the bottle, then you just add a layer mask, get a black paintbrush on that layer mask, and then you can just paint the edges of the bottle back again to get that, you know, hard-edged finished bottle. But I actually liked the effect, so I'm just going to undo that. I like the effect of the feeling of that sort of glow coming around the bottle. I think it actually suited this particular product quite well. Now, if I just merge that layer down quickly to here, and we'll look at the before and after. Let me just make that fill the screen. So there's the before shot, and then there's what I've done with it after. Before and after. Let's go in a little bit closer. Before and after. So I hope you enjoyed that episode of Fix the Photo. If you'd like to enter our weekly challenges or our critiques or our briefs, head over to Karl Taylor Education. Thanks for watching.